When we talk about policing and criminal justice in Britain, it's important to understand that, just like in schools, Black British girls have been subject to disproportionate scrutiny and harsher treatment by the police and the wider justice system. Historically, from the 1970s onwards, the aggressive policing of Black communities have primarily targeted Black boys and men, but Black girls have not been exempt. The concept of adultification bias, seeing Black youths as older or more culpable than they actually are, is clearly evident in law enforcement's dealings with minors. Black children in general are far more likely to be stopped, searched, arrested, and even subjected to evasive procedures by police than their white counterparts. Recent investigations have quantified this disparity. Between 2018 and 2022, Black children were 11 times more likely than white children to be strip searched by police in England and Wales. This is a staggering imbalance that reflects systematic racial profiling. In London's Metropolitan Police, Louise Casey, Baroness Casey of Blackstock's 2023 review found institutional racism baked in, noting that Black people, including youth, were over 3 times more likely to be handcuffed and almost 4 times more likely to have force used against them, whether through batons or taser. Noticeably, a disproportionate number of girls who undergo strip searches are Black. An analysis by Liberty Investigates found that almost half of all girls strip searched by police between 2017 and 2022 were Black. An incredible overrepresentation, given that Black people make up about 4% of the UK population. While 95% of overall child strip searches are performed on boys, of the smaller number of girls searched, Black girls make up a very large share. These searches often violate official safeguards. More than half occur without the required presence of an appropriate adult, and some have even taken place in schools or vehicles. In the case of Child Q, multiple failures were evident. School staff deferred to police rather than protecting the child. Female officers conducted a degrading strip search of a minor on her period, and no adult who cared for her welfare was present in the room. The Children's Commission of England called it utterly unacceptable and credited the bravery of a 15-year-old girl in speaking up for bringing these hidden abuses to light. Her case led to scrutiny that uncovered hundreds of other child strip searches in the Met, mostly involving Black boys, and at least 2 more instances of Black schoolgirls being strip searched by Metropolitan Police in recent years. Those cases have since come out, prompting further inquiries. Black girls are also subject to higher arrest and criminalisation rates relative to other girls. According to one analysis, Black girls in the UK are close to 2 times more likely to be arrested than white girls of the same age. This aligns with broader youth justice data showing Black youth of any gender are about 4 times more likely to be arrested than white youth. Once in the justice system, racial disparities persist at every stage, from charging to sentencing. As of 2020, 35% of children remanded to youth custody in England and Wales were Black, despite Black 10 to 17-year-olds making up only 4% of that age group. This represents nearly 9 times overrepresentation on remand, a trend that officials themselves have described as shocking. Black girls form a small fraction of the youth justice population in absolute terms, since boys commit the majority of serious youth offences. But when Black girls do come into contact with police or courts, they face the same double standards that afflict Black boys, compounded by gender perceptions. Adultification by police often means that Black girls are not given the leniency or protection appropriate for their age. Advocates have pointed out that authorities sometimes treat Black teenagers as grown women in situations where white teens would be treated as vulnerable minors. For example, Black girls involved in altercations might be quickly criminalized, arrested or charged, rather than diverted to support. A black girl out alone at night might be viewed as up to no good, rather than a child in need of help. A potent example is the case of Shukri Abdi, a 12-year-old black Somali refugee girl who drowned in a river near Manchester in 2019 under suspicious circumstances. Greater Manchester Police immediately labelled it a tragic accident and were slow to investigate possible foul play, despite other children being present when she died. Shukri's family accused the police of institutional racism and negligence, noting that officers failed to promptly interview all the young witnesses and seemingly did not treat the case with the urgency and care it deserved. They have filed a civil suit, believing that had Shukri not been a black hijab-wearing newcomer, the police response might have been more thorough. While an inquest eventually ruled the death an accident, with some negligence by another child involved, the family's fight highlights how black girls' victimhood is often downplayed by authorities. Campaigners have drawn parallels to the adultification of black girls in the US. For example, the delayed Amber Alerts for missing black teens. In essence, black girls do not receive the same presumption of innocence or urgency of protection. This lack of protection extends to black girls who go missing or are exploited. Statistics reveal that black people are overrepresented amongst missing persons. About 14% of missing people in England and Wales in 2019 to 20 were black, roughly 4 times their share of the population. Yet these cases get far less media attention and often less police attention than missing cases involving white females. Charities report that missing people of minority ethnicity are typically missing for longer, less likely to be found by the police, and less likely to be recorded as high risk than missing white people. The recent disappearance of Samaria Ayandi, a 19-year-old black student in London, prompted police criticism over the near silence of the media and the slow institutional response. As one journalist asked, if black people are so overrepresented in numbers of missing people, why is the opposite reflected in media coverage? The implication is clear. Black girls and young women in peril do not elicit the same damsel in distress response. Instead, there is a societal indifference, reflecting a perception that they are less innocent or less sympathetic victims. This is effectively another form of neglected rooted in racial bias. Across policing and justice systems, black girls have been subject to a dual trend: over-policed as suspects, yet under-protected as victims. They are more likely to be viewed with suspicion, subjected to degrading treatment like strip searches or excessive force, and swept into the justice system for minor offences. Conversely, when black girls are in danger or facing harm, authorities have been slower to respond or less attentive. We've seen this clearly in the lack of urgency in finding missing black girls, or in the initial failures in the cases like Victoria Columbe and Shukri Abdi's investigations. This reflects entrenched stereotypes that persist within law enforcement, stereotypes of criminality as well as a lack of empathy for black female youth. Efforts are underway to address these issues. The Metropolitan Police have pledged to reform child search practices after the Child Q case, and the Youth Justice Board for England and Wales has highlighted disparity data. But trust remains low. As one Black Police Association leader put it, each new report of unequal treatment joins other evidence of prejudice in policing, a failure of the institution to act with a sense of humanity, especially with the most vulnerable groups in black communities. And this is where our focus must now widen, because these same patterns, this same adultification bias, over-policing and under-protection do not end at the police station or the courtroom. They continue into the social services and child welfare systems, where black girls often face the same stereotypes, the same scrutiny, and the lack of protection. In the next part of this series, we explore how black girls experience social services and child welfare, a space where they are too often surveyed, misunderstood, and under-supported. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.